welcome to Coding After Work stream. And as per usual, this wouldn't be possible without a sponsor. And one of those is Progress Telerik. They have amazing Blazor UI components. I think they have over 75, probably more. Yeah, probably more by now. Or they're working on more, I'm sure of that. So if you're into Blazor, you should definitely give it a try. And we will add a link to that in the chat later on. But now, let's bring in our guest. There you go.
Hello.
Welcome, Layla. Is it Layla or Layla?
Layla, but lots
Layla.
of people call me Layla just because of the way it's spelt. So I answer to Layla and Layla.
How have you been?
Good, as well as anyone can be in these times. So, it's just busy and bored and run out of television and entertainment and, all the stuff.
We know all about that.
Yeah.
I think the last time we saw you, you were in Sweden talking at our conference, Svetug.
I was. That was the last conference.
Ago.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was. I loved that. It was so nice. And I really enjoyed that. But that was my last in-person conference. And it seems like such a long time ago. And it was really cold. I remember it was snowing. So, yeah. I mean, it was February, wasn't it? So
It was. We do have snow. We did have a little bit of snow yesterday, but today we have spring.
Oh, we have snow today.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, we're the same. We had I was really warm. It was like 25 degrees in my office last week, 27, and I was melting. And today it was snowing, like heavy snow. Craziness.
Yeah, very. But that's April for you.
Yes, always full of surprises.
And I have to tell you, I am so envious of your studio. It looks
my
so
penthouse.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes.
You built it yourself?
No, I built it with my partner. So he does a lot of it. He is a former web developer, now turned sort of Unity developer. So this room is based off my starting scene. So I can show you quickly. I'll just show you what it looks like. So you can see it was based on that room, and he was learning Unity, and he's like, I reckon I can make your room in 3D. And I was like, all right, then go on. So he made all the furniture and he made it all a room. And he's like, what do you think about us putting it in Twitch with you in it? And I was like, that sounds interesting. So he had to do all sorts of hacking with the Twitch API. So I had done a lot with the Twitch API for my own bot and worked on that. So we sort of worked on some of the aspects of that together. And I mean, he's got so many features in here now. Like he just tinkers with it. I did a lot of work on the Halloween scene. Like I made the pumpkins in Blender. But this room, I haven't really made anything in this room. I'm just the consumer because it's his baby that he created for me. So yeah, he's done a lot of this, but I have been working in Unity just to learn more about it. And he's like, you should be able to make your own modifications now. He's onto something else. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, oh, okay. But it's actually it's okay to work with, and because he and I have developed web apps together, we know the architecture, that we share those sort of principles, that the same style of writing code. So, and I've worked on debugging the actual C# code behind the scenes. So it's not that complicated for me to get into it. I'm not saying it's not complicated, but I've got a little bit of an edge because I don't have to learn his coding style, if you know what I mean.
I think there are so many things going on. I mean, the swaying of the camera and even the shadow.
Yes.
I haven't noticed that before. That's so cool.
And
Yeah.
even the plants have shadows that are
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
So
And
it's the little details.
it is. This room is actually fully ray traced as well. So you can see in my desk at the front that there's, can you see my
Yeah.
reflection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Right.
Now I want it even more.
I had to upgrade my computer to run this room with ray tracing. Oh my goodness, I'm just looking out my actual window, and you know, we were talking about snow. It is now full on like near whiteout blizzard outside. But yeah, this one is all, you can see the reflection in the glass is all ray tracing. And the black dots around the top are actually lights. I could probably activate those so you can see. If I go and enter a command, I can, that should work. There you go. I can turn on my lights.
Go.
And chat can get involved in that from my channel chat, that is. So I just went on to my channel and did all of this and that. And I can see we've got Justin Horner and who is normally on my channel there as well, which is cool. And
Nice.
yeah, so yeah, there's all sorts of little Easter eggs in here, and we can change the lighting. And go to nighttime, which is cool when you've got the lights on here as well. So it has been, it's quite the evolution from the first version that I had last year. So I think we first had this in July, the first prototype we had. But yeah, I have a pretty beefy computer to be able to run this, and a VM and OBS, so it's quite crazy.
But fun.
Yes, definitely fun. But it's not a casual thing. If I say I'm going to stream, it's not a casual thing just to start streaming for me. It's like, all right, here is my big checklist, and I have to go through it all to get the whole thing up and running. But I enjoy being in here. I enjoy my visitors. So I get visitors coming in to the room, and like both people from chat and also popular culture, which is quite fun. So yeah.
So how was that, taking the backseat in the beginning of this project and only being the consumer at first?
That was okay, because I was really working hard on some workshops for my previous job where I worked at Twilio. I was working really hard on workshops, recording video, and just quite extensive sort of material for teaching. And I was also learning things like Blazor, and you've heard of Blazor, I think. You know, I think you might have heard of that.
I've heard about it.
Yeah,
You're writing
just
a book about it. I hope you have.
You know, so there was just, it was actually okay, because I thought it was quite good for my partner just to get stuck into something, because he was made redundant. And so, you know, it's really hard to get work last year and all of that. So I think it kept him really occupied. See, someone's playing with my lights now. That's not me. And I think it was really good for him to have a project to get stuck into, but not just a toy project. You know, like when you're off work, you might build some demos for GitHub. And I think what he loved was that I could use this project, and we could keep iterating on it and really enjoy it. Oh my goodness, I see we've got C# Fritz now has joined us. Wowzers, oh, visitors.
Look at that. Whole coding squad.
Yeah, and Rick. Hello, Rick. And so normally when Rick turns up, Rick is my technical support, I can show you what it looks like when I have a visitor. We won't have any sound because I don't think I've shared sound, but if when Rick turns up, He normally gets a drop down.
That's cool.
And so I get some visitors coming in like that. So yeah, it's
Thank you everybody for joining us.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. Look at
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I know that mug.
I don't know who's triggering all of these.
But it's so much fun.
There you go. So you can see that it's quite interactive, and much to Rick's disdain, I tend to spend a lot of time in this room and not so much time tapping away at code. So it is fun, and I think just having it's all going to start shifting now. We're just going for it.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's nice to have a project, and he just got more into it. So I have 4 studios. I have this one, the OG. I have Halloween, which is set in a graveyard that's got skeletons swinging in it. It's got witches, wolves howling. I then have a winter scene. So I'm in the snow. That one actually snows. And I have fog in that one as well. And then I have a cyberpunk inspired cyber street, which I'm literally on a street. And that's got fog and loads of neon lights and all sorts of things. So yeah, I've got the 4 studios. So it brings a little bit of variety to streaming in my day. So
And there's no end to the possibilities, like you would have said, right?
Yep.
yeah.
That's so much fun. So you mentioned that you have done a lot of teaching material and stuff like that. How did that change for you when the pandemic hit?
So I think I just changed to different mediums. I used to, I'm really passionate about getting new people into code. I came to coding from a non-conventional background, as they say. So I changed career and learnt to code. I taught myself. So I really advocate for people doing that, and people who don't have a degree or haven't had the opportunities that many people are fortunate to have. So I like to help people transition into tech. So I some of this I do by running my local meetup. I have on and off been a mentor at the local girls code group. They sort of go through different cycles. They were twice a week. Oh no, were they twice a week? Once a fortnight, twice a month they meet. So with my travel schedule, I wasn't always able to go, but I'd go, several times a year and help out there. But I also started to do C# for beginners, and I taught it in the local town hall and just invited anyone who was interested in coding, and the people from my meetup came and were mentors. So I've always tried to teach people and help them. I guess I've always taught since a young age. I'm doing follow notifications now. Thank
Hello,
you.
Max. We know him.
So I think what I did is I went more into teaching on Twitch, and I also started to create video content. So for Twilio, I made quite an in-depth 5-part fully working, functioning application. I guess I was sick of seeing just demoware, and I get a little bit tired of, you always go to a site or a blog and it's like, do this, but it's got bad practice in. It's like you no dependency injection, for example, or you don't know how this product interacts with this product. And I had a change to I had an idea to enable developers by building a completely integrated project. And so that was sort of a whole start to finish of ordering cakes. I sort of built the application on Stream, which was quite good because I could talk through with people what made sense and what architecture would would work for all these vertical slices through the different things. So it is still a skeleton application, but it had so many slices of good practice. So that's what I was really aiming for. So it ended up being about 4 hours, this video course, which is, when you're recording video, my goodness, that takes so much effort. I never really appreciated the video recording and productivity and production around it. Yeah, the number of times I was like, oh my goodness, the quality on this is terrible. I have to do it again. So yeah, I have a very high respect for people who regularly make YouTube content, quality YouTube content. So I think that was how I shifted during the no in-person events and the usual virtual conferences and meetups that seem to become ubiquitous. Although we were talking about it earlier, I do struggle with the virtual meetups and virtual conferences. It's the lack of seeing faces and getting feedback. Even just the subtle body language you see from the people in the front row. Are they having a nap? Luckily, I've only given one talk where someone fell asleep. But you never know. The whole audience could be snoring their heads off when you're virtual, and you'd never know. So, yeah.
Or they can have the time of their life and you don't know.
Well, this is it. You depend on the organizers saying, oh yes, your rating was really high, or you go on Twitter and someone said, I really enjoyed this talk. So it can be quite hard, I think.
I can't get over the fact that you don't get any feedback, because it's, how do you know? We talked about this before we started the stream, about joking. When you're doing a joke on a virtual conference or a meetup, how do you know?
You just don't.
Virtual teaching is really hard because of the lacking feedback. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I
do like it.
Yeah. But that part I don't like as much as an in-person event.
Yeah, I think there's some aspects that are quite good, because you have more confidence with just okay, I'm in my environment, I have control over everything, and you can just give your talk, and you can have multiple screens. I like that. I have notes, and so there's some good things about it. But I don't like the lack of control where you're depending on the organizers to take your stream of whatever you're putting. Thank you, Crumfinger. Take your stream and broadcast. And I've been in conferences where you have no idea whether they've actually got your stream or not, or if it's just all gone into the ether and no one's watching because it's lost, and you've lost audio, and you've just been sat there for 25 minutes chatting to yourself.
Yeah, I've had a friend who did a talk, and she was on the air for, I don't know, a couple of minutes, almost 5 minutes or something. I can't really remember, but it was more than 2-3 minutes. And nobody told her or cut her off or anything, but her time was up and she was on time. But she was just, can I go? Am I just staring into the void? I don't know. And that's so awkward.
Yeah.
Frederick says, as a participant, I like the possibility for interaction, but an active chat can also be very distracting from the talk.
Yeah.
We do a lot of things for the MVP community with we use Teams. So while the people are talking, we get blim, 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 blim from the chat all the time. It drives you crazy.
Yeah, and if it's super busy, you're just end up, like Frederick said, you're just ending up reading the chat instead. But I think maybe an active chat is better suited for hybrid events or Twitch or where you have the possibility to actually interrupt and talk and read the chat as well.
Yeah.
Not as much for the actual, I'm delivering a talk here.
Definitely. I think one thing that we tried, so I'm on the live coders team with C# Fritz, and we had a conference last month for International Women's Day, and we tried something new there, which embracing the Twitch format, which has an active chat, and rather than having our speakers come on and just be like give their presentation, we gave them a host and said this is going to be a three-way conversation between you, your host, and the chat, so that we sort of embraced that environment and worked with it that way, as opposed to just I think when you come onto Twitch and you don't engage with your chat, you lose some of the magic of Twitch. So you may as well broadcast on YouTube, for example. So I think that worked quite well. We had a good positive feedback from that. But I do agree that if I'm presenting at a conference and there's chat there, or as you say, that you're on Teams and you're presenting through Teams, which I hate doing. I hate it. Yeah. And then you've got all this chat coming and your eyes keep going to it like, are they telling me something I should know about? Like, you know, like,
did I forget something?
Can no one see the slides? So you're always sort of...
Is the sound off?
Yeah. And then you end up, you're not fully in the zone of your talk. So you lose... I mean, I don't know about
Everybody
you, but
lose.
This is it. With my talks, I practice them so often that they almost become automatic. I don't have scripts or anything, but I know the pattern of what comes after what, because I do practice. And but then I'm like, oh, so-and-so says what? Oh, that's nothing to do with my talk. Oh, where was I? Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then it's like panic. So, yeah.
Bobodev says, this is very good. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. Some sort of hybrid, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's we started our meetup as a IRL meetup, of course. But we were also very code heavy, so people can come there. And I think most of our members are already used to being able to chat with other people. Hey, what are you working on? Or do you know JavaScript because I have an issue, or whatever it can be. So I think those members that comes from our regular meetup may or may not have a good time here. And then we have the Twitch people that maybe, I don't know. We don't know. So I'm glad that Bobodev likes it, because it could be a clash here, because the people we know from Twitch might be expecting a regular stream. And we have some sort of hybrid, so I hope it works.
I think
the issue is JavaScript, by the way.
Always JavaScript.
I just had to bring that one in.
Of course you did.
It's true.
Hey,
look at that. Famous people.
I don't know. I don't think you can hear them though, can you?
No.
No. So I keep jumping because things are happening. And like a minute ago, you didn't hear it, but there was a massive crack of thunder. And that's why I was like, what on earth is that? And I'm like, I hadn't shared the sound through to you both. I think it has been difficult with the meetups. Our meetup was always very like, here's a presentation. We're very formulaic. Turn up, chat to people, eat some food, speaker gives a talk, and then brief chat afterwards. And then we'd go to the pub for continued talk because we were getting kicked out of our venue. And then when it all became virtual, I was really quick on the virtual. I think it was like before lockdown last March, I was thinking, I think we should cancel our meetup. And my co-organizer was like, no, Layla, you're it's all fine. It's fine. And I was like, no, I really think we should cancel. I think we should cancel. And he's like, it's fine. And no, we're going to cancel. I'm not going to be responsible for like pandemic through the C# and .NET community in my local area. And so we cancelled. And then the lockdown came and I was like, phew. But it was quite hard for us to switch over to the virtual sort of thing. One of the reasons why I'm so involved in my local community is because it's a local community, and I like us to be a community of developers who know each other, who are there for support. Just as you say, like they can talk to people, and we'd have groups where they would like message each other and go, I'm really stuck. Does anyone have any idea on how to do this or that? So even though we didn't have like the sort of let's pair program in the sessions, I had visitors walking around then, and we still had that sort of sense of community. Now, when we opened it up to virtual, people from all over the world could come, which is great, but we lost a little bit of that local community because there'd be 30 people on the Zoom and maybe 10 of them knew each other, and then there were all these strangers. And Zoom is really difficult to be like, so where have you come from? You know, whereas when you're in person, you'll stand there with your plate of pizza or sandwiches or whatever the food is, and you'll be like, oh, that person's over there doing nothing and on their own, and you'd go up and chat to them, or I would, and you know, you could start to see other people just getting involved and chatting. But on Zoom, people just come and consume. They don't partake in the community, and I think
there's really no, well, I shouldn't say no, but there's not as much added value to that if you compare it to just watching a plural site or YouTube video as an in-person community event.
Absolutely.
That was we struggled with as well. We didn't want to go, because we were a code-heavy user group, we didn't have lectures like that. We went there to code. It was kind of difficult. How do we do this now in a virtual world? Do we just do a Teams call and everybody codes? That's difficult. So we waited. It was quite a while. I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months or something. We didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So that was a big. But how do you think we can add value?
It's something I'm always trying to think about. I have got talks scheduled for the entire year, and I just force myself to do it to try and keep the community going. So I asked my community, I said, do you still want me to keep doing it? My co-organiser emigrated to New Zealand. Like, he couldn't get further away. And so it's really hard to get another co-organizer, because you think, well, there's no reason, because we're not taking names at a door or anything. But I got one from the community site. I'm happy to help. They live in a different part of the UK, so it's not like they can help when we're in person. But I appreciated the offer and things like that. So I really struggle. I've tried to get a variety of talks, different types of topics, and than the normal. So we normally have quite C# heavy. I had like last month we had Stephanie Steinbeck and came and talked about HTML controllers, which was really interesting, very different. We've not had anything about that. And I've tried to get different people from different aspects. So I guess the value there is that I've got people from all over the world coming. So you know, that's been a good part, because normally I'd have to wait till like NDC London and then like bribe speakers to come up. So I've done that. I did that the last 2 years. And so last year I managed to like bribe Richard Campbell to come up and like come to my meetup. And then the year before I got Scott Hanselman. And so I'm very good at like, you know, you want to, because I have a secret weapon here where I live in Milton Keynes, and that's called Bletchley Park and the National Museum of Computers. So I'm like, come here, you can go to the National Museum of Computers or Computing. So that's really cool. They've got all different computers, and we have Bletchley Park where they cracked the Enigma code. And they've got the Turing machine and La Bomba and stuff like that. So I'm like, come for the day, it's cultural, and then come speak at my meetup. So I'm very good at sort of managing to wangle people to come up. But that's only once a year, really. Twice if I'm lucky, if there was another big conference. There used to be another one in London, which is sadly gone now. So that's, I guess, the value is that I can get people from all over the world. So I've managed a variety of speakers from all over the world. And one thing I have managed is that every speaker I have this year at my meetup has one thing in common. And I don't know if anyone's drawn this similarity yet, but if you go and look at my meetup group, the one thing that all my speakers have in common is that they're all women. So I was really pleased. I wanted to do an experiment to see if I could have a year of all female speakers every meetup. And I've got it. I've got entirely booked up for the whole year, just because I think it can be done.
And that might not have been possible.
No, I don't think it would have been.
This was a in-person event, so that's awesome. Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't have been possible.
Both types has ups and downs. Really. Yeah. We get some, we lose some. We just have to get in line, I guess, and get used to it.
So how did you both solve your problem then? What steps did you come to after the 8 months of not doing a meetup because you couldn't figure out the format? So you sort of said a hybrid almost on Twitch, but what drew you to those conclusions and how did you come to that?
Well, we had been looking into streaming a little bit. We had at one of our last, I don't know if it was the last even, real in-person event, we had Jeff Fritz over to talk about how to get started on Twitch. And he had basically a workshop or a hybrid workshop talk.
Yeah. And it's available on YouTube as well.
You can catch it on YouTube. So we already had that seed going, and we already had a lot of equipment since we are doing a podcast, funnily enough, with the same name. Did anybody buy that? That was an innocent... That wasn't, no.
Shameless plug.
No, not at all.
Shameful plug.
Shameful plug, yeah. It was a shameful plug. So Coding After Work podcast. So we already had a lot of the equipment. And we just basically took one of our VR computers and converted it to a streaming computer. We had to get some lighting, though. And we did remodel. We painted our wall chroma key green. And people, if you don't know how green that is when you put it on a full wall, let me tell you, it's so green it hurts for 6 months. That's how green it is. And there's no pulling that screen down. So we committed, but I don't know. We struggled. We discussed back and forth. We've discussed with a lot of people in the community on how to not convert, because we weren't that traditional, that you said, the meetup where you go and you watch a session and you can go back home. We were a little bit more hands-on. We didn't want to convert to that because we didn't want to be a competitor to all our other friends in the community who have great events. So we landed in some sort of hybrid. So that's what we tell our speakers as well. If you want to do a session, that's fine, but we will have a little interaction. If you just want to have a chat, that's fine. If you want to show code, that's also fine.
So we're trying to stay kind of in the middle, not full on Twitch, what you normally would do on Twitch, and not full on session, but something in between.
Yeah.
So basically, we haven't decided.
No.
We picked all of it.
I think that sounds awesome. I
think Fredrik had fun at that evening as well. It was a while ago. But
everything was a while ago.
Yeah. We ran into our luggage. We found our luggage the other day. It's we were. How does this work? Why do we have? Was it this color? We had no clue.
No, mine's all hidden.
Yeah,
I keep getting emails from the US border control, because just before the lockdown, I thought, I'm going to be going to the US so many times this year. I normally go at least like 5 times a year. And I was like, I need global entry. So I'd gone through, paid it all, you know.
Yeah.
I did it like autumn 2019. I started it. And then like you have to get something from the UK border people, and then I had this form, and it took months. And then I finally got it all sent off and paid the final bit in February. And I was like, oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, so you went through all that trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I get an email like once a month saying, here are some locations where you can do your final interview. And I'm like, yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah, no, the only travel emails we get is from all the whatchamacallit, the airplane people. What do they call them?
Airliners?
Yes!
Airplane people.
Who knows anymore?
Someone's gonna put this into the clips, aren't they? Yeah.
Oh, please do clip those.
Yeah. So we get from that, this is your miles, or this is your points, and book now to save money. No, can't travel.
All of your points are going to expire unless you book a trip, but I don't want to travel. Well, I do want to travel, but I don't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I have that too. I keep getting mine extended, I think. And it's like, you work so hard to get your like lounge access, enough points to get lounge access. You give all of you travel like the worst route so you can stick with your chosen airline. And it's like, I don't care that I could go 20 minutes down the road to Luton Airport and fly direct to Poland. I will go to Heathrow and take a non-direct flight and have a change so I can go with British Airways and get my points. And we have
another tip for how to solve that problem. You can fly business. You only have to do that once or twice, and then you're done.
Yeah, I think at Twilio they allowed us after, if we were flying more than 8 hours, we could fly premium economy. And New York was like 7 hours 50 minutes.
No.
So we had to go.
I was thinking it's 8.5, but that's because we go to London to go there.
Yes, yeah. No, we had to raise a Jira ticket, and it's like, they're not going to make me go economy for 10 minutes. So you'd go and raise a Jira ticket, and you'd be like, here is the flight I wish to take. It is 7 hours 52 minutes. I swear, 7 hours 52 minutes, something like that. And it's like, please, may I have permission to book premium economy? And like a week later, you'd get, okay, here is a code that you can put in it that gives you explicit permission. And you're like, yes. And you'd be like, oh, I can't fly on this one because this one's 7 hours and 15 minutes. It varies that much, you know? And it's like, okay, so I can't go to JFK. I'm going to go to Newark. And you start going, right, oh, I can't go that route. And you start plotting it around your 8 hours.
What's the worst trip I can take?
Yes, the longest route just to get to my 8 hours.
But it is so nice to actually not sit in economy when you're flying that long, especially if you're giving a talk or something. We usually we're fortunate because we usually travel together. We can speak at the same conferences, and we have nobody waiting at home, and we run our own company. Well, apart from your real job that you have to take vacation days for, but other than that, we can go there a little bit early so we can get rid of all the jet lag.
Yeah.
I don't fly well.
No. Do you just don't like it?
Thank you, Rick.
Yay, Rick.
Thank you. I mean it.
Oh my goodness.
I did something similar on a podcast. I couldn't for the life of me say horsepower. I don't know. Yeah.
What did you say instead?
This particular one was in Swedish. So,
okay.
But it basically Porsche Hour or something. I just kept switching the and I think it went on for like 5, 6, 7 tries or something. Yeah, so sometimes my brain doesn't speak to my mouth.
I understand that. If I've been streaming for like an hour and a half, I start not being able to speak properly either. I think it's a real skill to be able to speak for a long, like concisely and intelligibly for a long period of time. So
I like to call it brain lag when it happens to me. That's a very nice name for it. I will absolutely steal that one. I usually say it's migraine brain because I usually have migraines when it's happening, but that is so much better. Brain lag, thank you.
That's very cool. Yeah. Yeah, the migraines do make you a bit like, I suffer as well, especially these times of years and times of the year. And yeah, I think jet lag can feel a lot like either you've got a terrible migraine or you've got the worst hangover ever. And I think it's like jet lag is something that's a real bonus of lockdown. No jet lag. None.
Well, there's that. There was some of us who tried, well, not me, but some people tried during the MVP summit because it felt so strange, it being in our time zone because it was held online. Nobody had jet lag. Mm-hmm. Nobody was up at 4 a.m. trying to get pancakes. So there was that.
Yeah, I struggled with the last 2 MVP summits because they, being virtual and starting at the end of the day and being in a new job this time as well. I totally missed the start because I was on stream and I thought it was at 5:30 my time. And people are like, Rick was on stream and he was like, oh, I'm going off to see the opening keynote of MVP Summit now. And I was like, isn't it in 2 hours time? He's like, no, it's now. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm catching up on that on demand. And I really struggled and ended up not going to any live sessions. So, I hope that it's in person next year. I think we're all going to be MVPs still next year, aren't we? They've waived the thing
auto extended us.
Yes, quite convenient that.
Very. But for at least 6 to 8 months, nobody had anywhere to speak.
No,
it took some time to convert to online, I think. But I feel all the online events, I struggle with them because I know I can catch them on demand, which means I will, if I'm like you said, well, I might be catching it later, but that later never comes.
True.
Well, usually not for me. And that list is massive now of all the events and sessions I want to see. So if I don't see it live, I will most probably not see it.
I'm very similar. I do struggle, and it's one of the reasons now at meetups they ask whether they can record the session, and I actually say no. So I don't record any of my sessions at meetups now. Conferences is a little bit different, but with the meetups, because you tend to do quite a lot of meetups, I've just stopped letting them be recorded now. I'm like, you want to see it, come and be involved in the community at least, and come and say hi, be on the Zoom, or if you can't catch that one, come to another one. So otherwise, yeah, there's this big old long list. I can see Stacey. Hello, Stacey. Feels the same, and yeah, Crumfinger has this list too. I think we all have this playlist. Watch later. Oh, that sounds interesting. Watch later.
I have so many. Watch later.
Well, the good thing is that we're watching technology, so chances are that the technology is going to be outdated once you come to that point.
So we don't actually have to watch it.
Oh, .NET 5. No, that's too old.
Well, there's that. There's that. I have a massive YouTube list. Well, I actually have a list of lists. And I do the browser tabs as well. Mm-hmm. Jimmy usually makes fun of me for it.
Why is my computer so slow? Well, it could be those thousands of tabs.
It's just hundreds.
I'm not a tab
over
person.
800 videos and the browser tabs. Yeah, I shouldn't say this on stream probably, but my watch later list is 1250, and I have probably around 100 lists that are sorted.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm not right. And I will never get to them, and I know that. That's why I started to sort them into lists, because sometimes I might go to that list.
So basically you have lists of watch later lists.
Yes, that is correct.
Fair enough.
That is correct. But none of them are as huge as the watch later list. None of them.
Well, I now have an
electric
excuse.
Vehicles is only 200. Yeah, you do have an excuse?
200. Yeah, now the excuse. Jimmy just gave it to me. It's all going to be outdated. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't need to watch anything because what's the point?
There you go.
Oh my gosh. But you're not wrong. I mean, how quickly is everything moving at the moment? I was going through a tutorial yesterday that was published on Unity that was published last year. And no hope. Nothing worked. It all broke. I've got pets walking around here, hence the like break in the matrix. But yeah, everything is moving so quickly. It's really difficult if you're not keeping up and you're not watching those YouTube videos and you're not watching the talks or you're not reading the blogs or like trawling through Twitter. I quite like it when people drop blogs on Twitter or like, have you heard of this new feature? I'm like, oh, that's good. And I go and make a note of it because it's like pre-digested for me. But if you're not keeping track on this, you fall so far behind. It's terrifying how quickly you fall behind and how quick, it's almost irrecoverable to come back from.
Yeah, and I feel like now when we don't go to as many conferences, well, we don't go to any conferences, and being at speaker at conferences, we are fortunate to go to so many conferences, which means we can catch up on what's the latest stuff.
Yeah.
But being at home and just putting it into my watch later list, I have no clue. Is it .NET 4 still?
I have no idea.
Okay, that one I do know. So Crumfinger asked how long it took me to make that list. Let me tell you how I YouTube. Basically, 80% of my time on YouTube is just scrolling through the recommended list, adding them to the watch later list. That's how I do it.
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah. I usually only watch the videos either if I can't sleep or if I'm doing research. So
yeah, you're procrastinating.
You're not the only one.
What I like is having the lists of things that you think might be useful, because you're like, you may not watch, I don't know, let's say you're not learning about Blazor at the moment, but you're going to look at it in the future. Why watch a Blazor video now?
Yeah.
Where you're filling up your brain with stuff that could be filled up with stuff that you need currently. So I tend to be like, okay, I have this with lists of, I don't do lots of browser tabs. I have loads and loads of bookmarks. I have a very well organized bookmark thing. So I'm like, all right, so I'm interested. Oh, this Blazor gaming, how to build a game with Blazor. I've got a blog like that on my phone that's been open for the past 7 months on a tab on my phone. So on my phone, I do. I'll read that tomorrow. So that's the one naughty tab. Yes, and then I'm like, but I'm not going to be building a game with Blazor, so there's no point watching it today. I don't have time to go through that tutorial. And still 7 months down the line, I haven't gone through the tutorial, but I know it's there. And that's what you're doing. You're going through cataloging what is there, what might be interesting. And you don't necessarily need to know it now. You just need to know it's there. And I think it's about so much of what we do isn't knowing the actual thing. It's knowing what's possible. And with coding, just knowing that there's a video on how to do X with Y, even though you may not have watched it, you're like, you can do X with Y, is rattling in the back of your head. So you come to a problem and you're like, I know I need to find that blog, that video on X with Y, because I know it's there. I know it can be done. And that's where what you're doing is really useful. You're not clogging up your brain with information that you can't retain until you need it. You are making small connections of what's possible. And then when you do need it, you've already got that connection. You don't have to go, well, I'm completely stuck. What can I do? How do I solve this problem? You're like, let me think. And you go back through your catalog, because we all have this like filing system that we can go through. And you're like, you may not have read that file, but you're like, yes, X with Y. Pluck it out and then you can do it. So that's how I think about it. So
what she said.
Yeah, there you go.
Stacey agrees.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel seen and validated, and this is okay.
It is totally okay.
Frederick apparently loves podcasts because of this.
Yeah, and because it can't be too detailed, and that's why I love like the shorter sessions, 45 minutes to an hour, because they can't go into too much details, but I know if this is something for me or not. Or I can Google it when I come home. Or Bing, if you want that.
Bing it with Google. No, Google it with Bing.
Yeah.
I do that. So it's don't beat yourself up. Yeah. It's totally valid what you're doing and sorting your lists. You're just making that internal catalog, and that is a huge part of what being a developer is having that catalog of what can be done. And that's what allows developers to switch languages as well, because it's not knowing the syntax of languages or anything like that. It's knowing what is possible and the structures and the patterns. And when people ask me what programming language should I use, it's like, well, it doesn't matter. Or what programming language should I learn? And I'm like, it doesn't really matter, but maybe look about the jobs in your local area. I mean, that's gone out the window. You can choose whatever you want now because remote worldwide working. But, I used to say, okay, so where I live, it's a lot of Java and C#. So there's no point learning Ruby or PHP. You'll never get a job here. So learn Java or C#. Because it's all where there's a lot of head offices and enterprise. So it tends to be more enterprise-based languages. And they're always they only ever want full stack. So, if you're learning JavaScript, that's fine too. But it doesn't matter if you don't know what you want to do yet. Just learning any language is good start, because you get all the principles and the thought process, how to break problems down. That's what is really important in programming, not the syntax, not the language. So yeah, I think this is just an extension of that, learning those different things and what is and isn't possible.
Yeah,
definitely. Except when it comes to you and JavaScript.
Yep.
You are not friends. And oddly enough, my favorite chapter of your book is the JavaScript one.
That's because I kept it very, very basic, because I don't know that stuff.
Hey, wait a minute. Did you just insult me?
Yep. Apparently I did. So I'll be preparing the couch.
That's good. You can have one pillow.
That many?
Because he doesn't like pillows, so I will pick out the fattest, thickest possible pillow we have.
If you really want to punish me, you would say you're gonna have five pillows.
Oh, you're going to get all the pillows.
Oh,
hey,
dear.
look at this. This is perfect. Learning enough to dare to try, but not enough to be paralyzed. Yeah.
That's a good quote.
Very good. I usually go straight for the paralyzed. What I do in so many things. Like with the Blazer book. JavaScript that chapter, really good.
All the other chapters.
I don't remember. I was paralyzed.
Yeah, it just gets overwhelming sometimes, doesn't it? And you're just like, that's how I feel sometimes, you know. So yeah,
Sounds about right.
But you have a Twitch channel, and you do. Well, we talked about learning in public. What kind of challenges have you encountered so far?
so learning in public. I've just had a coffee delivery. How nice! This is one of the challenges, is having food and drink delivered to you. And I've as you can see, I've mastered that challenge. Coffee magically appearing, not virtual coffee as well, actual coffee. And so I think the hardest thing is the multitasking. That's something I've really had to master. And that is having code loaded in your head, code that you may not necessarily understand how to do. I very rarely go in prepared for my regular streams. If I'm doing something very specific, I will have prepared stuff and gone through it and I'll know what I'm doing. But my regular streams, as any of my viewers will know, that they're not prepared. I come in and I'm like, I don't know how we're going to do this. We're just going to try. And so one of the things I've really had to overcome is not engineering, just actually coding and doing the engineering later. So refactor and I've had to learn how to do that. So I've got all this code loaded in my head, some of which I have no idea what to do. And I've got that, oh my God, the paralyzing thoughts of, I have to fail in public. And then I've got chat to master. So I've got lots of people chatting to me. I have puppies licking my toes, like I currently do, and I have to ignore that and not go as my feet are being tickled. And then I have like the production to manage, changing scenes. I'm well known for doxing myself, so much so that I have a bit of a thing in here. So if I actually go to the desk view, so this is something I've had to program into it, and I've worked with my partner to get this in. So I have a desk view, so I'm going to flick over to that. So I'm in my desk view now, and this is where I would normally have like a coding stream up behind me. But if someone thinks I'm about to flash all of my credentials, which is a regular occurrence, you know, I now can get my mods to help. They do this, and it throws me back.
That is perfect.
There are actually sirens going off. You just can't hear them. And it throws me back to this room. And it's like, docs, because I was doxing myself so regularly because, you know, you just, without thinking, you go right click, show user settings, user secrets. And you're like, oh no, there's all the keys to everything. I think
so cool.
Yeah, thank you, Stacey. So it was kind of, how do I manage the production? So a lot of it has come from chat integrations to help me manage things, help my moderators help me and go through all of these sort of things. So that was iterative. I felt like I really needed help with managing all the different aspects of it. So I think it was this multitasking of code loaded, panic. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how. Oh, chat. Who's coming? Oh my God, there's been like 50 messages. Oh my God, I need to change scenes. I'm not showing any code, and I've been talking about code for 5 minutes. You know, so I have now like go to desk, go to like room. I've got all these these commands that help my moderators. Like, I'll be in this view and I'll start going back to the code and I'll forget to change scene, so they can change it for me. But before, that was really challenging to be like, I'd have to be checking chat and then they're like, Layla, we can't see the code. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And it could have been like 3 minutes. And you think, oh, see, I got past being embarrassed very quickly. Because that's another thing. You become paralyzed with this. Oh my goodness, I have just made myself look like the biggest Muppet. Sorry, that's a very English thing to say. Idiot. On stream, like, I have no idea how to do just a basic like serialized JSON. Okay, I always have to go and Google how to serialize JSON. You know, there's things that I just acknowledge I am always going to have to go and Google how to do that. No matter that I do it every stream, it's like it just won't stay in. There's so much going on in here that this thing, deserialized JSON, that I use all the time, no. So I've come to terms with, some people are going to swing by my thing and go, what is this idiot talking about? Like, does she not know anything? Why is she on my screen? And you do get some trolls. I think that's one of the hard things. You have to manage the trolls. Being a woman in tech is always a little bit dicey. But this is why you build tools to get your community to help you. So it's definitely a community on Twitch. So yeah, I think the hardest part was just juggling all the different things and learning to fail quite publicly and be clipped, failing quite spectacularly, like falling off my chair. I've done that. Yes. You know, just so many things have gone wrong. The clips on my stream, some of them are so hilarious. Because I'm a bit of a klutz and a buffoon, and I've shed all that self-consciousness about I have to be an expert. I know code. I've coded for years, but it's very different to code with a cohesive train of thought on live stream when you're being watched by, I don't know, 50, 60 people, all telling you, why are you doing it that way? Oh my God, why? Dependency injection sucks. You know, oh my God, don't you know how to write JavaScript? Oh, jQuery, you know, just the barrage of stuff that comes through. And you have to block it out. And you think, I'm just going to write some code. And people are like, oh, why are you doing it that way? I'm going to refactor. We're not over engineering. So yeah, I'm just getting something to freaking work because it's been 3 hours and nothing is working. So I've managed to get past all of this and be like,
but I think that's something that I like about streams like yours. I can see that you're a human. I can see that you have to Google deserializing JSON.
Everything.
Which makes me feel better because I have to Google stuff that I should know by now. So I think that's what I like. If I want to see a polished, nice set of presentation, I go to a conference. If I want to see real life stuff, yeah, exactly. If I want to see real life stuff, I go to Twitch. So I like the failing and how do we solve this? Because especially as a new coder, how do you get to know, who's teaching you how to search for things and what to search for?
Yes.
Because sometimes the error messages we get are saying nothing.
Yeah.
And also, is it always Google or is it better to go on Stack Overflow? How do you parse through all that?
And especially showing that it's okay to Google JSON deserialize every time. I do it the same with JSON deserialize every time.
Maybe it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's like something written from Men in Black. You know that blasting thing they do? So it can't get stuck in anyone's brain. You have to Google it.
Every time.
There's something about the syntax.
I don't know.
I
can
JSON?
remember.
Is it JSON convert? Yeah. Is it? I don't know.
See, Crumfinger is on this train as well. it's such a big thing. I'm still a beginner learning myself. So seeing people pause to think, fail and figure it out, Google stuff. Yeah, it's really de-stressing. Agreed. So much this.
Yeah, because all your stress is coming onto me and I'm like, oh my God, I can't figure it out. And then it's like, so I can't figure it out, you know, and that's, you see,
and
that's
it can
lovely.
help with imposter syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is it. I think showing that even, you know, very experienced developers, people go, how long have you been coding? And I'm like, years. You know, it doesn't matter. Before I went into developer relations, I was a senior full stack developer, like, you know, working on really complex stuff in an agile team. You know, I did all of that. I've done all of that. And, you know, I still need to go and Google how to deserialize JSON. And now with like system.text.json and Newton stuff, it's like, I don't know which one I'm doing. And then I've got half of one and half of another. And you get a code snip from here and it's slightly the same, or it's got the same method. And it's like, So I've just decided I'm not going to memorize it. And that's okay. But I love that there's mob programming. So I have people like Rick. He comes in and he and I, you know, he'll be on chat and I'll be like, Rick, what do you think? How do you think we should architect this? And we'll chat about it. Like, I'll talk it out. Even on the stream last week, I got like a Miro board. Miro. That's a visitor again. And I gave him access and we were sort of drawing it out, like the architecture on the board, you know, collaboratively on stream, involved showing how to, like, a new developer or someone who's just learning stuff. This is how, you know, developers work together. This is how we would collaborate. We wouldn't just be siloing ourselves. We work and rubber duck and bounce ideas off each other and like, well, how should we architect this? Should we have it do this, then this, and then go off here? Or should we have that as a separate system? And you sometimes just need to talk it out. And I mean, there's a reason why we talk about rubber ducking in coding, but there's nothing like actually bouncing it off with someone who's engaging with you. And that's what I love about Twitch, is that the chat are giving you their thoughts and they're like, Layla, why have you never thought about doing it with this API that does it all for you, so you don't have to handcraft every bit? And then I'm like, oh my God, today I learnt. Oh, I have a visitor here. So, and I'm not stroking my thigh, I'm stroking a puppy.
Someone click that one. We will have a lot of outtakes from this show.
Oh my goodness. And so, you know, I think we're about to have more of an outtake as well. So I have, you've seen some of my visitors on stream. I have these pesty things that fly around my virtual studio, and I think I see one coming now. And yeah, look, here it is. I have these hands of God.
What? But it casts a shadow.
Yes. So now I have this note. And so I get these notes. I have a stack of notes on my desk over here. This one is from Silicon Orchid. So Silicon Orchid is my partner, Jim. And he says, he forgets so much he wouldn't pass any coding exam. And he is, so he created this room. He was a lead developer, full stack, doing, you know, C#, Angular, Aurelia. I've never done, oh, go away. And, you know, he forgets everything. He's got a brain like a sieve, but it doesn't matter because he knows the principles. Sieve brain, it must be infectious.
It is. I have read, 10, 11 chapters of the Blazor book, and I only remember the one JavaScript chapter.
Is it this memorable, Jimmy? What have you done in your book?
Apparently.
It is really good. while I'm reading it. And that's also why I have that vast list to watch on YouTube, because even if I've seen it, I better keep it because I will forget it.
Yeah, that's why I have extensive bookmarks on everything, because I order them, and Crumfinger, big hearts to you. I can't keep it all in my brain.
No.
And I have an exceptional memory as well. I do have quite a photographic memory, and it's interesting how coding has really challenged that. So the more I code, the worse my memory gets. And like it's really interesting. So I had, like, at university, I had literally a photographic memory. I would look at a page in these huge I did mathematics at university. So I had these huge books, and I would open it up and I would look at the page and I would read it through. I would mark on it. I have to draw on it. That's how I make the connection. So I'll like put something in the margin or highlight something. And then literally in the exam, if there was a question on it, I could visualize the page, the whole page, and go through and be like, oh yes, there it is. You know, literally like you see on TV. Like they magically see the page, and it literally felt like that I could see it and remember every detail and do it. So I've always done very well in exams, just because of this memory. And I'm very good with names and faces of other people's memories. I will remind them of their memories, and oh yes, but you know, it was that person. And people are like, how? I told you that like 2 years ago. I'm like, yes, it's all filed away. And I creep people out. It is a kind of cheating, yes. But even with my exceptional memory, and it can be a curse. And people go like, Layla, how do you remember all of this? How can you like recall this and remember it? And it's like, no, I just can't. I still have to Google paste and deserialize. So how, you know, it is crazy.
So my theory about Men in Black,
it's spot on.
yeah.
Maybe if you print the JSON deserialize and mark it.
Jimmy, you've done it. You've solved it. If I write it out, I have that many notebooks. I don't know what it is about the physicality. I can't learn from ebooks. I don't know what it is. So maybe it is something to do with the physicalness. That is the connection with my memory. I mean, didn't people used to print out, not that long ago? I know that Jim worked at somewhere where they bought an old printer from a school to print out all the code and actually do code reviews on paper. I mean, that probably worked quite well for me.
There you go.
Yeah. So there you go. So
well, you need to try it now, don't you?
I'm going to. This is going to be my thing. I'm going to write it out, both the serialize and deserialize, and I will let you know if it worked for me. I'm like,
I can't wait for the result of this. Will it work?
Will it?
But it's okay to Google, so that's fine too.
Absolutely. This is what I'm saying. Like, even with a supposedly exceptional memory, I still have to Google so much. And I think it's about choosing what is worth remembering and what isn't. What can you Google? I can easily Google deserialize and reserialize. Yeah, I should remember it, but I just don't need to because I've got a crutch. It's like we used to remember about memorizing your telephone numbers. We don't need to now.
I don't know even my own, basically.
Just about it.
So there are studies that support this. There you go.
And the thing with memory is if the more senses that you involve in the process of learning. So, for example, I really like ebooks, but when I read them, I read very, very slow for some reason. Very slow.
You and me both.
What I do is I have my ebook, and then I have text to speech ramped up to like 3 or 4 times the speed.
Let me show you how that sounds to me. And he's like, oh, yeah, he means like that. Like, you can't possibly.
So if I have the text in front of me, I have this text to speech. I'm using 2 senses. I can read way faster than
humanly possible.
Because I wouldn't be able to hear it, just hear it. I wouldn't be able to just read it. But the combination of the 2 makes it possible.
It's insane. He can read a book in like an hour or something.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and literally, I'm not even exaggerating. It sounds like that to me. I called him out because I heard him. I think you were in the shower. No, you can't have been in the shower. No. Well, I heard it somewhere. And I was like, what are you listening to? It's like the Chipmunks. He's like, well, no, that's a book. You mean you don't hear what they say? Like, no.
You need to ramp it up a little bit slow if you haven't read it in a while. So.
Okay. No, it's insane. Well, maybe it's there. You have to learn how to listen that fast. But literally, Chipmunks, I do understand. That, no.
That's, I mean, since I read slow and I really don't have a good retention of the book afterwards if I just read it. I usually listen to these kinds of books and read them on my way to work, which is not happening now.
So it's been a year.
But when I came home and I told Jessica, oh, this book, it said this and this and that, and I had whole stories, and I had really good retention from that. Plus, if I just were to listen to the book, I would go, oh, that's a car. Oh, that's a car. Oh, what is he doing over there? So having the looking at the text as well helped me focus. So that's a good tip.
I can see all of that, how that would work.
You have to record how to serialize and deserialize JSON so she can print it and read it.
Yes, and we can combine our powers. We can combine them. Oh, dear.
Yeah, fun times.
Yeah,
no, I still don't get how you even hear a word. And I say that lived close to Denmark. So there you go.
I struggle with speech that's fast. I really struggle with podcasts because I think I actually lip read and listen. I've had hearing tests. I've got perfect hearing. But I think I struggle in meetings, a lot of people leave their cameras off, which is absolutely fine. But then I really struggle. To understand who's saying what people are saying. And I do so much better if I can see people and I do sync up what they're saying with their lips in a very similar manner. So it is interesting and how it is like the 2 senses, isn't it? I'm using my eyes and my ears to understand what people are saying, especially if they speak fast, because I do struggle with that. But yeah, interesting.
Very.
So one of the things that I struggle with when I code live is to talk and code at the same time. that just doesn't work for me. Did that come easy for you?
In some respects, yes. We were taught to do it at Twilio, but I already at Twilio they teach you through repetition to do it, but I actually could already do it, and I think it comes from in my previous job I would teach, so I taught Pilates, and what I would do is I would be instructing, I would demo the movement and talk at the same time. So I got the ability to do different the things that I'm talking about as I do them, if you know what I mean. So so for Pilates, I would be you have to talk a lot about how to engage different muscles. So those complex movements, you're like, okay, so you've got to pull up your pelvic floor, pull everything in. So I then do that, and I'm like, so now you've got to think of your spine, you know, being like blocks or a chain, and you're laying it down. And as I'm doing that, I am actually doing it. And as I'm like rolling down, I'd be like, so think of it, each one plopping down. And I nearly fell off my chair, you see, because I'm on a rocking chair. So I think I got very used to being able to articulate what I was doing whilst doing it. And coding was just, I'm typing it, I'm thinking about the how whilst I explain about the what. So it came relatively easy for me. But I do think it's just because of that experience of, for years I taught people, you know, just how to move their bodies, which is actually far harder than it sounds, teaching people to move their bodies in controlled fashion. No, I don't narrate mundane things like hoovering.
I do sometimes. Well, not hoovering because we have a robot for that, but I do tend to talk to. Well, we used to have cats, and it was much better when we had cats because I could say I was talking to the cats. But now we don't. So apparently,
I've now been caught.
Yeah.
I do sometimes narrate what I'm doing while I'm working. No one is listening, but
I can hear you from downstairs.
Yeah.
But I don't see your code, so that's fine.
That's true.
And I don't see if you're actually on a call either. So.
Oh. So I can just throw in my coworker's name.
Yeah, you can fool me.
Yeah, I like real silence when I'm working. So working from home has actually been fantastic because in offices, I can't deal with people talking, people walking around, people eating, the radio on. Oh my goodness. If I do listen to music, it has to be things I've heard before. So I have a playlist that's like for my coding playlist, and I am on my stream. I have the playlist that it's a liked playlist. It's the one I always do. So I have that on the same time, so I know every song. And so I don't think I can talk whilst I do actual work, because I just need it quiet or repetitive. And I actually read an interesting article this morning that said one of the tips for highly productive people is to listen to the same song on repeat. Now, I'm not that bad. I listen to a playlist on repeat, but the same song, I don't know if I could cope with that. I might go a little bit nuts with that, but maybe it gives you a cadence.
I think I might be on Frederick's team here. For focus, it can't be stuff I know or I'll sing along. Or,
Interesting.
Yeah, it can't be things that I like. Well, I can like them, but it needs to be like brain dead stuff in that case. But I usually use music to keep my mind busy so I can focus on whatever I'm trying to focus on.
I think I have like 3 levels. If I really need to think, I need it to be quiet.
Can't be quiet, too much going on.
then I need it to be quiet. Then I have a level like I can do like instrumental music, and one level where well, perhaps not Depeche Mode because then I'm gonna sing, but all the other stuff is fine. So I think I have like 3
I think
levels.
I'm like Jimmy.
I think I use music more of a way of focusing, because sometimes I even have the TV on just as a background noise and music, which I now realize you must hate. He works from upstairs and I'm usually downstairs, so there's a little well, you could close the door, but still.
I don't think I ever heard that.
Okay. That's good.
With his earplugs in.
To keep, yeah, exactly. And noise cancelling over those.
It is interesting all the different ways that people can work. I've only been in one office and we had a wing, the engineering wing. And you could have heard a pin drop in there. It was just like, I think there was 25 developers in there. Silence.
Oh, I could not handle that.
Oh, I loved it until the git behind me put his headphones on and and he was a jiggler. So he'd jiggle his leg and it would on the table.
That would be me.
And I'm like,
Was it me?
I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. And I'd be there like my head is about to, like, I'm pulsing. I can't focus on anything because I'm just like, what can I? Yeah. So I'm not maybe the best person to work in an office with lots of people because I get a bit like homicidal maniac inside my head. And I'm like, I'm going to glass him. I get violent. I'm like, what can I smash in there? So yes, I'm much more tranquil and trilled in my own environment at the home. Oh yes, Miss Fonia. Oh my God. People chewing or scraping knives on plates. I'm like, oh yes, it's not fun.
I'm with Frederick here. I think Frederick and I can be in one part of the office and you, the rest of you can be in Layla's corner.
The silence. Do not move.
The silence really creeps me out. Really creeps me out. Because, well, and I can't sit still, so I know I will make a sound. So I'm trying to sit still even more, which makes me not want to sit still. So it's like an endless spiral.
So we have a bunch of rooms in the house, and there's one room that I really love. That's the room we have all the crap in. But yeah. the office room, computers, the studio, computers, by the TV, computers. But that room is just silent. It's
except when the 3D printer is on, then it's not silent.
I really love that room because it's silent.
Creeps me out. But then again, I can't handle spa days either.
That's true.
No, neither
or
can
a day
I.
at the beach, you know.
No. I hate the beach. I hate lying by the pool. Don't do spa
How can
days.
you do that? I don't know.
No. I grew up in southern Spain where it was all beach and pool, and I was as pasty as I am now. And I don't do that. I had like farmer tan because I rode horses, so I just had like the brown arms, and then the rest of me was pasty white. And I can't do it. But working, I can sit in silence, but sleeping, I need white noise. So we have a air filter in our bedroom, so that runs, and so it's a low hum, and that's fine. But I actually like rain noise on my phone. So when I travel, I just have my phone playing rain thunderstorms all through the night, and I can go to sleep with that. And I listen to that on planes as well to drum out all the people eating and babies crying and the stuff.
We went to Rarotonga for a week just before NDC Sydney.
Well, back when we could travel.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, paradise.
And I'm gonna lay here. I'm gonna get some sun. That's awesome. And Jessica's sitting up, going. So, are we going into town or what? But the sun, we can.
It took 5 minutes. I'm like, do we just lay here and look at the sun? No, you close your eyes. But
are you done yet?
So I went on a photo tour instead. I took the camera and took a walk.
Now, luckily, my complexion is like
10 minutes in the sun, and you're burning. Yeah.
So the rest of the trip I had, we bought a pink.
It was a sarong.
Yeah, I had that over me because I was totally burned. Everything was red.
I should laugh. I'm sorry.
No, you should laugh. I don't know which was pinker, you true. Or that, and that was pink.
Oh my goodness.
I think I can take a little bit more sun than you, but I think your level is 20-30 minutes and you will burn.
Yep.
Same here.
Like a vampire.
Yeah,
I think I'm more like 30, 35 minutes, and then I will burn.
I can be like 15 minutes. I'm actually this is not my natural color. I actually have very dark hair. My father had jet black hair and olive skin. He tanned so dark. And then my mum can tan quite well. And then there's me. And it's like
they forgot to give you that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, look, there's the sun. and like rosy, or then I get these weird like patches of brown, not freckles, patches.
Yes.
I have one here, like a patch of brown. I have like this bit here will go really brown, and so I'll be like really dark here, and then white hands. I'm like, what is going on? Why am I patchy?
I can get, well, not brown, but less white.
Yeah.
on my forearms, my legs, doesn't matter what I do. No. I think they're clear. I think I don't know, they were painted white or something.
I'm totally there. I've never had brown legs. My legs have always been like reflective.
Yes, exactly.
They're like reflective white sheets in the sun. Reflect all the light back at you. You need sunglasses on when I get my legs out.
Yeah, that's
it's like, oh my god, what's that? It's Layla's legs. So yes.
Yep. Complexions of vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's Northern Europeans, isn't it? We're just destined to be pasty white or pink.
Yep. And if you burn, it takes too long for it to heal, that what regular, normal, non-pasty white people will get is actually burn, and then they will be a little bit brown. But for me, it's blisters, white.
And living so far up north, so you get red. You need a healing time, and then summer's over.
Yes, exactly.
You missed it.
That
you
day
had
is
one
over.
day.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, look at that, Stacy. She has those white legs as well.
Yeah. You need those glasses.
She's from the UK, so.
Oh my goodness. No, definitely, it's an affliction on other people.
And now I just realized on the stream, it looks like we actually have some sort of color, or at least a little bit more reddish. That's not true. That's the lighting.
Really? Because you do look quite brown. I look very pasty. I'm a little bit pastier than I am in real life, I think, on this.
Oh, you are? That's my complexion. For real. I'm not even kidding. With a slight undertone of green.
I'm quite pink. If I switch to this one, you'll probably see this camera has more true color. So I'm slightly less washed out, but you can, like, I'm pretty pale. But you can see the like how much, which way is the camera? There you go. You can see how much dark there is going on there. Hairdressers might open soon. You never know.
Oh, yeah. I miss the real world. And we have not had a real hard lockdown here, though, in Sweden. We haven't. Everything is still semi-open, at least. I think the restaurants are allowed to be open until 8:30 or something. Then it's only takeout. But you can't, of course, come in massive amount of people. I think it's one if it's the entrance through a shopping mall, and it's like 4, I think, if it's a regular restaurant. So
I've not been in
Germany
a restaurant.
Germany is getting a hard lockdown again. Yeah.
I have a very good friend in Berlin, and he's like, "Yep, it's all going back down." Apparently we're opening up here, but I have not been to a restaurant in a year. I don't feel comfortable. Even when they lifted the lockdown so you could go to restaurants, I still didn't want to go. And today work asked, "Oh, how do you feel about traveling, Layla? We're all going to meet in San Francisco in May." And I'm like, well, it's illegal for me to travel outside of the UK. And B, I'm not going anywhere till I've had my jabs. You know, I'm not leaving my house or socializing with anyone until I've had injections. And that could be, well, it was predicted June, but now with the shortages, who knows? I have applied to in-person. Yeah, I've been hopeful and applied to a couple of in-person conferences for like September onwards. I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll see.
But we've been very fortunate when it comes to restaurant, because there's a really large parking space just across the street from us. And apparently that's the new hotspot for food trucks. So we have a new food truck here every day of the week except Saturdays. So yeah, it's very expensive.
But very convenient.
It's also very much. So we've tried way too many of them. So we get kind of restaurant food, but at home. And you don't even have to dress up for it.
Go out in your slippers and your pajamas and back with your food.
The pajama bottoms has happened. It was a Batman loungewear.
Yes.
Huge difference. No.
Definitely. It's very different. Loungewear is the pajamas you wear during the day, and your pajamas are the ones that you wear in bed. It's a huge difference.
Exactly. And I would never wear those to bed. So, therefore, loungewear.
I'm totally with you, Jessica. Definitely.
Dressing gowns are to hide the food stains from lunches past.
Ew!
Which is also funny, because dressing...
Ooh, nice.
See what I did? Did I just do a pun?
So now we should have that laughter.
Sorry about that.
It's allowed.
At least we're supporting the local businesses, all of us, with a takeout.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's an upside.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely worth doing. Supporting businesses. What do you want? Go away. Honestly, puppies. And yes, I've had a few takeouts. Fish and chips. I missed fish and chips, and I think that's quite easy. That you order on the website and you go, and they like hand it over to you across a counter, and you go. So that's been easy. And Five Guys. I've been to Five Guys. But that's it. And everywhere else I haven't trusted.
Someone wants to join us.
Yes, you could just see some ears, huge ears. And I don't know what you want. Go away.
Biscuit, I think it's biscuit.
Yes.
Yeah, Stacey also missed the UK fish and chips. And we're one of the food trucks that comes here regularly is a UK fish and chips. So.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, we've got a very good fish and chips place locally. They did some really interesting stuff for Easter. So do you know what a Cadbury's cream egg is?
Oh, yeah. Cadbury creams. Those are the sugary filled
chocolate eggs filled with like white sugar fondant.
Sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. They're battering those and deep frying them.
What?
Yeah.
No.
They're doing
what is this magic?
Yeah, they're doing chip butties in hot cross buns. I don't know how I feel about that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I keep thinking, should I try a deep
Of course
fried
you should try. It's your duty.
Like, I don't know.
You don't have to like it.
Deep fried cream egg. I don't know. The mixture of the sugar and the fat and the melted chocolate, and I don't know. I just don't.
And even more fat. And yeah.
And then a chip butty in a hot cross bun. I don't know. They've really gone to town
with even more fat.
I know. And raisins. Like I don't know. It's very strange. So they keep coming up with weird and wacky stuff. They had at Christmas, they had deep fried battered mince pies. And I'm like,
what?
okay, so we got pastry.
That one I do approve of. That sounded really good.
And I'm like, and I keep wimping out.
Our vendor was adventurous. They went from they have fish and chips and they have deep fried banana, but now they ventured out to deep fried strawberries.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Cadbury
I like
egg,
cream eggs.
Strawberry, Cadbury, doesn't matter.
Doesn't batter.
Ooh, nice. You're on fire.
Sorry. You're the punner, not me. I don't like puns. It just happened. I'm getting tired, so it just happened, okay?
I love it. Keep doing it. Clotted cream jam and scones. Oh gosh, now I want cream tea. It's the best.
I shouldn't mention to him that you can actually make that, right?
Make what?
Clotted cream.
Can you? You have to bake it, don't you? Like you put it in and
you can.
With the crust on the top, that's the best bit. You like, if they bring you when you have cream tea, they'll bring you like a pot of clotted cream to share. Tower snacks, sandwiches, petit four. Oh my goodness, I'm like kind of hungry now.
We still haven't had dinner, so
I had a snack bowl before coming on stream.
We had the tower snack last time we were in the UK. And me being so restless, wondered, how can we down that in 10 minutes? Or do we have to sit here for half a day?
Oh my God. Was that an accurate depiction of you that day?
It was a fancy place, so I controlled myself. Like a grown-up.
So you didn't just pick up the tower and go...
Like a grown-up. I'm like, oh, tea. Oh, sugar.
Oh, yeah,
sugar,
that is
sugar,
true.
Sugar. we went to where they drink
sweet tea. We were in Virginia.
Virginia, right?
All right.
Virginia Beach, I think.
So they brought it. Do you want half and half?
We ordered a sweet tea. That was what we did.
Yeah. Do you really want just sweet tea? Yeah, sure. But I got to try it, right?
When in Rome and all that.
Yeah. And that was just like I drink tea normally.
I think the server asked you when you ordered. The people we were there that were local asked you, "Are you sure?" And when they served it, again, were you sure you wanted the sweet tea?
It's like, yeah.
He's like, could use a little bit more sugar.
Yeah, could I have some more?
Oh my gosh!
He puts so much sugar in his tea that you can feel it, and you can. It will be spoonfuls of sugar left.
It's kind of syrup rather than tea.
That's the best part.
Oh my goodness!
The syrup in the bottom. Oh.
That's why
that
you
is
drink
quite
tea.
Nice. I used to. I don't have sugar in stuff now. I don't have sugary drinks. I don't like the way it coats my teeth. But I used to have sugar in a cup of tea. And you get to the bottom, and there's like that bit of sugar that didn't melt. It's like that tea flavored sugar paste at the bottom. You have to get the teaspoon, and it's the best bit. You're spot on. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Now imagine that being the whole cup.
Oh my God.
You could just do like a sugar tea slushy.
I can do what now?
So I pushed her to try the fried Cadbury egg. So you will definitely try that one. Okay. Mm-hmm.
What are you going to try, Jessica? But we've all got our things to try.
I don't know. What should I try? Not that amount of sugar, that's for sure.
No.
I think it's equal amount of sugar in your... I should try more puns. That's a suitable punishment.
Nice.
Oh no! Oh my
You're
God.
really on a roll.
Oh, what do you like? I love it. Keep doing it.
I'm getting kind of like a love-hate relationship with puns for you.
I bring all the puns out for you, so your punny side. Oh dear.
That's awesome. And on that note, should we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's time.
This has been a blast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me. I've had so much fun chatting to you about, well, we chat about learning in public and fun stuff. So we did exactly what we were saying.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And on that, we will be back on not this Thursday, but the Thursday after that.
That was clear.
Thank you.
Well, we do have that next Thursday thing going on.
You don't know how to.
Yeah, apparently it's me.
Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great evening.
Bye.